All right, so my name's Aaron. I'm an alcoholic. And I'm just going to read from here because it's easier for me to organize my words if I read from here. I was asked to join you today to tell you a story. And if I'm going to tell you a story, then I want it to be one that resonates with you on a level profound enough to leave a lasting impression when you leave this room today. Because I get to sit up here sober, but I'm still just like everyone in this room. I'm a broken, confused, and misguided soul, just trying to find my way in this world where it feels like everyone has found everyone has their shit together except for me. And does that sound familiar? Well, let's take a look at how I became this way. I was born with something called mass phenotype. And what that is a progressive and degenerative connective tissue disease that slowly eats away at everything inside my body in a similar fashion to the way that alcohol was eating away at my soul. And while the doctors wouldn't find and properly diagnose this disorder until I was 16 years old, it is a lifelong thing that I'm forced to live with. It is what contributes to my daily chronic pain. It is what has metaphorically held me down and made me watch my piano hands fade into purple puppets and made me throw one beloved life away. And when the doctor told my mother on that fateful day that the life expectancy of someone with this condition is 30 years, and you know who the hell says that next to a 16-year-old kid? He knew it would eventually be my inevitable end. Well, I'm 40 now. But I remember sitting alone on that night of my 30th birthday with a bottle of Jaeger while I waited. I waited for that clock to strike midnight with a single shot poured, untouched, not a ripple on its surface, and I waited. And when the time finally came, there I was, 30 years old. I made it. Alive. And then every year after that was like an hourglass being flipped over time and time again with the sounding of a heavy hammer inside my skull. You're still here, some lonely voice echoed. But did I want to be? I don't think I did. So I drank myself deeper and deeper into oblivion, and my God, I really could have used the love of a caring family. But I forgot to mention them, didn't I? Well, my health aside, maybe I can relate to some of you on the family front. I don't want you to get me wrong, because I have great parents. I always have. They're amazing. I love them dearly for everything they've ever done for me, especially regarding my health, keeping me alive, the surgeries I've had in my life, the 86 screws that are holding my chest together, etc. So when I say I was born into an abusive family, I'm not talking about my parents at all. It was my sister. My older sister never wanted a brother. From the age of 2, she already knew that. and I was the worst thing that ever came to this earth. Growing up, she both psychologically and physically abused me heavily. To this day, from her violent side, I have a vivid memory of her face right above mine on our parents' property, throwing punches and scratches. Her scowls alone could put down the fiercest of men. And it wasn't until I was in junior high school with a black belt in martial arts and finally swung back at her that she'd finally stopped with the physical outbursts. And all of that leading up to the recent years when I was officially diagnosed with PTSD from being unable to let go of past traumas. But when I was younger, I would always finally escape and run back to the house and hide. And there's one thing I can't remember well though, and which is bruising. I remember being chased and slapped to tears all the time, but I can't remember hiding any bruises from my parents. But then there was always the deep-seated mental angst that haunts me to this day. The "you're not good enough, you'll never be good enough at anything ever, you're ugly, pathetic, stupid, a disgrace, a plague upon everyone's existence around you." These beliefs, and I say beliefs, are what she said to me every day of my life growing up. These are the things that she made me believe wholeheartedly. And these are the things that became exceedingly real throughout my entire life. And so that's exactly who I became. I didn't show up to work every day and do a good job because I wanted to do a good job or because it was fulfilling to do a good job. No. I did the best of the best of the best time and time again and again because nothing I ever did was good enough. And it still isn't. When I write music, people tell me it's beautiful, while all I hear are mistakes. When I cook for people, I have had guests literally lick their plates clean in full suit and tie in a multi-million-dollar dining room setting, while I thought, I hope it was okay. My sister managed to create a person so damaged that it was no wonder all I wanted was some silence inside my head, which really brings me to why we are finally all here. We're all addicts of some sort. For me, it was alcohol. And I remember the exact moment I became an alcoholic. It was the very first night I got drunk on the Saturday immediately following Good Friday when I was 17 years old. And I wrote about the warmth I experienced in an impact letter I wrote last year when I was trying to define what addicts feel the very first time getting high. And I think my definition is pretty good. I wrote, "There was an initial euphoria that had me experiencing a relief so perfect that a lifelong atheist would pray to God for it to never end." And I'd say that pretty much sums it up. But the problem is, I think we've all been chasing that exact feeling since it's withered and washed long away. It's gone. And I think it's time we all accepted that. And you know, I used it for other things, like this chronic pain I live with. It's everywhere, sure, head to toe. But I've also been involved in, 2 car accidents in my time that caused further permanent damage. A labral tear in my right hip, shooting pain down my leg, occipital neuralgia in my neck and head, causing a constant throbbing headache that I've had for 18 years. Alcohol took the pain away better than any treatment. Injections, Botox, physical therapy, acupuncture, chiropractors, massages, pain medications, etc. None of it worked. what alcohol did, but it was killing me very quickly the way I was using it. I'd drink until I felt nothing and passed out. I'd wake up and drink until I felt nothing and then pass out. Then when I ran out of alcohol, I'd somehow muster up the strength to get myself to the nearest store to buy more, just so I could go home and drink until I felt nothing and pass out. I was becoming the very thing my sister had told me my whole life that I would be, which was good for nothing. I started to watch the people around me fade away, move on to better things, to better lives for themselves, and leave me to rot because I was beyond help. I was going nowhere unless I decided myself that it was time for change. I tried to make a few people happy along the way and managed to stay sober for almost 3 years on my own through the pandemic, which was a fucking accomplishment. But it was a dry period, really. I wasn't very happy. I was going day to day, mostly bitter, pushing 120 hours of work 6 days per week as a sous chef in Southern California, until I got so burnt out that I walked out on a 22-year career that I absolutely loved, that saved my life when my hands failed my music dream and I slumped into a pit of darkness. I'd spend the next 6 months applying to any job possible until ultimately landing a warehouse job with Amazon, a job I found surprisingly easy. But a year passed and I started slipping back into those nothing's good enough routines. And finally a situation at work drove me to take one drink, one night, that led into 6 months of drowning myself with suicidal ideation. And then the wife called a rehab that over a period of several months landed me right here at Northbound. And I have been sober ever since. Have I achieved total success? I can't say that for certain, because I'll never know if I'll find myself sitting in front of a bottle again. I sincerely hope that I won't. But is something different this time? Yes, something definitely feels different this time. In the past 9 months, I haven't had a single desire to go out and drink. I've had thoughts of doing it just for the sake of doing it, purely out of habit, but I was able to use the skills I've learned in places like this to stop those moments from going any further. And now that I'm no longer drinking, I hope I'm able to continue getting the right kind of help with my physical and emotional pains, and to take what music I am able to play and use it to motivate the world in a way that says things can still be done when all odds are against you. And that is what I hope to do. I hope to motivate the world, starting with all of you, because I was invited here today to tell you a story. And I hope you heard it well, because it'll be up to all of you to further that story down the line to not only those passing through these halls at Northbound, but out in the world in your sober, successful, and connected lives. Yeah, I can play a song I wrote that is about, it's titled A Dream's Beginning, and it's about having a dream.